welcome to No One Escapes Death, our DBD podcast with Big Red Nerd, me, and Hardy Place.
Hello.
This is a podcast where we talk about everything DBD, balance issues, your favorites, PTBs, patch notes, all that jazz. Yeah, well, we're going to talk about it all every week. All right. Let's get to it. So 6.4.0, that's how you say that, right? 6.4.0 PTB just finished, I believe. And the patch notes were released with it. One important thing to notice on the PTB is that progress and save data information has been copied, so everybody gets all of their stuff that they've had on their regular account, I believe, transferred over. You get to play with everything. I think that's how that works.
I believe so, yeah.
But this one featured the new killer coming out called the Knight. Um, did you get to see any of the Knight play?
I did. I got to see a bit of it from people streaming the PTB, and then I also seen Ott's Darva's video that he posted.
Yeah, he did post a good video. I saw his, and then I also saw Spooky Loops play and comment on the killer, and the killer as a survivor main, the killer looks terrifying. He's gonna be all over the map and have super map pressure, I feel like.
Yeah, I definitely agree. From the standpoint of someone who mostly plays Survivor but also plays Killer, he seems like he's gonna be decently good. Seeing his new perks, which are gonna be really good. We're gonna get to that, but it'll be really good on him as well as other killers. And then just his actual abilities in general and his other beings that he can summon is going to be a bit annoying at the least.
So one of his skills is that he can summon his comrades, I guess, in arms. More on that lore later, but one of them is the assassin, and then we have I always forget this one. It's the assassin, the it's like a priest guy that has like a staff. I always forget that one.
Um,
Um,
I
what is
can't
it
even think of
called?
the names. Uh,
His guards. They're called his guards.
oh yes,
Um,
there's the Carnifex, some of that. The assassin and the jailer are the three
yes.
guards.
Yes. Um, they basically what he can do is he can send them out in a and give them a perimeter to watch. And they all do different things. Like the assassin acts a lot like Legion, I'm guessing. He's faster, and will try and chase down a survivor that they detect within their perimeter. The jailer, I don't know what he does. I never actually got to see the jailer in action.
Um, the jailer is the one. That's the one that breaks stuff, right? Like you can command it to kick gens and stuff.
Ooh, strong, strong. If there's like a gen that's going, you could leave him there and he'll just keep breaking the gen over and over. Oh my god. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, yeah, because I believe that is the jailer. Because I believe that seeing the names, it's like so difficult to think of what it is. Because I know you can set up like paths and stuff, but I don't know if that's just the one.
Seeing the names. Do I not
Um,
have the right?
you're on the PTB. I also searched up like the knight on the wiki, so I have more like
Oh.
information about him.
You should send me that
I
that
got you.
little
Um,
right. Cool, cool, cool.
And I'm also gonna bring up, what's the new guy's name?
Vittorio.
Vittorio. By the way, for everyone live on Twitch, this is the first podcast, so get
Bear
used
with
to us
us.
finding stuff and stuff like that. Okay, so I got him up now as well.
Fandom. I can spell that. .com - wiki - tarhos _ cove. Oh, oh my god, there we go. C3%. Nope. Okay. There we go. A1CS. Oh my god, there it is. And he's
Get out.
right. The Vittorio one is right there in the side little bar. I don't
Yeah.
know if you saw that. Okay. So yeah, the knight is going to be introduced in the chapter 26 Forged in Fog DLC release on November 22nd. How do you say that? Tarhos Kovacs? Kovacs?
I'm gonna go with Tarhos Kovacs. I don't know if the accent adds an accent to the name or not, but
Yeah. So he moves at 115%, which is 4.6 meters a second.
which I believe is the average move speed for killers, barring
Yeah.
like Nurse.
His tear radius is 32 meters, which is average, I think, or
I
a
think that's
little on the
normal
bigger
tear
side.
radius. I think
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's 32. That's normal tear radius.
I don't know if height matters, but he's average. uh So he essentially has a power where he sends his faithful guards to hunt for survivors and damage objects on the field. His perks that we'll talk about are coming out are Nowhere to Hide, Hex, Face Darkness, and Hubris. I've heard some bad as in like really good for killers, really bad for survivors, bad combinations
That's for sure.
on some of those.
And he has a moderate difficulty rating, which I agree with, because of all the mechanics within his builds, especially with having 3 different guards and whatnot.
Wow, there's a lot of lore on him.
Oh
Oof.
yeah, the lore chunk is massive, um, which I have not read. I will be honest.
Mm. Okay, so what do we want to talk about first? Do we want to talk about perks? Do we want to talk about his lore?
I guess that we can start with maybe his perks,
Perks.
and
All right.
then go from there. So the
So
first perk that he has is called Nowhere to Hide, which essentially, when performing the damage generator action on a generator, of course, it triggers Nowhere to Hide, which includes that essentially the auras of all survivors within 24 meters of your current position are revealed to you for 3, 4, or 5 seconds, depending on rarity of the perk.
oof.
I think that'll be really good on a lot of killers, especially the ones that can get places fast, like a Nurse or a Blight. I think it'll be really useful on them.
Can you imagine Onryo or what's her the ring? Oh,
Sadako? Yeah,
yes.
that would be terrifying. I think a lot of the killers that depend on sight, even like a Huntress, this could be really good.
Yeah, within a certain meter of the killer, uh you're going to get seen if they use this. Ah, that one as a survivor, that one's gonna suck. Uh, I foresee a bunch of distortions in our future. Although that in itself is apparently a lot of killers really hate it when you run distortion because it's not fun when they can't see you. I've seen that argument thrown out there. I'm like, well, it's a perk, so I'm running it. So the next perk is Hex Face the Darkness. Once you injure a survivor by any means, if there is a dull totem remaining on the map, Hex Face the Darkness activates and lights it, cursing that survivor. All other survivors see the aura of the cursed survivor for a certain amount of seconds, to 12, 10, and 8. And then all other survivors will scream intermittently if they are outside the killer's tear radius, revealing their auras for 2 seconds each time. Holy cow. So Hex Face the Darkness deactivates when the cursed survivor either enters the dying state or becomes healthy. You better heal really quickly if you can get rid of the killer that fast. If survivors manage to cleanse hex totems, cleanse its hex totem, it dies. My question about this is, if there are no more totems on the map and all of them have been cleansed, does that thing go away? Does that perk just not activate anymore? Or does it, there's going to be a lot of people. Can you imagine distortion, inner strength, just cleansing? Like, what's keeping survivors from just cleansing any totem they get their hands on? And then what's the next one?
So the next perk is Hubris. So whenever you're stunned by a survivor, that survivor suffers from the exposed status effect for 10, 15, or 20 seconds, depending on the rarity of the perk. And Hubris itself has a cooldown of 20 seconds.
Oof. A survivor, what I'm thinking would happen is, as soon as I figure out that they have this perk, I'm gonna be like, oh, and I will pre-throw that pallet. If I have to, I will pre-throw all pallets, say, you need to, and I'll just loop the pallet, and you need to kick that if you want to get to me. Like, granted, not every survivor is good at looping, and not every survivor will realize, hey, I need to throw this pallet, and then get away as soon as possible to the next loop. But for those, just beginning or just trying to learn how to loop, I can see this being super detrimental, especially if the killer is running something like Relentless and Spirit Fury with Enduring. It's going to be a lower I don't want to say MMR, but if you're in the lower ranks or the lower tiers, through the medium tiers, I think it's going to be more heavily relied on in those areas, because more experienced survivors, you're going to come up as a killer, you're going to come up against survivors that realize you have this and are going to act the same way. And unless you're incredible at killer, sometimes you cannot make that down within 20 seconds. I foresee this maybe possibly bringing Dead Hard back out into the light and having more survivors try and figure out how to use it in its new form, rather than just saying, okay, well, I'm not going to use Dead Hard anymore. But it would probably be, it'll buy you those extra couple seconds you might need to either get to a new palette or figure out a way to outrun killers. Might be keeping track in their heads, like who's out, who's the next one to come up, essentially. Maybe playing for that guard's strengths.
Yeah, because he does get to see which guard is going to come out next, but he does not have the ability to choose the guard.
Ooh,
which is nice.
See, there we go. Reading is always a good thing. Special interaction guard order. See, I jumped ahead. Look at that.
So while in the guard summon mode, aim at the following objects and press the attack button in order to summon the guard to complete the breaker damage action on selected items, mid-progress generators, downed pallets, or breakable walls. Which makes sense.
If a survivor is detected, does that break that order?
So I think more what it's saying is not the order of the guards. I think it's when you're going to order the guard to do something. I think like
Okay.
if you
Okay.
aim what his name was, but if you aim one of the guards at one of these specific 3 items, it'll then go to that item and do the action of breaking.
While a guard is on patrol, he can spot and detect survivors within a highlighted area, which is displayed as a white circle around the guard. A survivor is detected, the guard will move to the location, leave a standard on the ground, and start hunting the survivor for a set amount of time. I wonder how long that time is. Um, the hunted survivor can escape the guard with the following means: unhooking another survivor, grabbing the standard. Ooh, kind of like kicking Victor with the
Hmm.
twins, and surviving until the hunt elapses. I would be interested. I guess that with the unhooking the survivor part kind of keeps them from using the guards to camp, essentially, survivors on a
Yeah.
hook. Doesn't mention that you have to evade the guard until you get to the unhook portion. So there's that at least for
Yeah.
killers. Um and then the length of that hunt. What is that? That's a good question. Patrol speed, hunt speed. They have different speeds for each of the guards. Oh, there we go. Hunt duration. So the Carnifex hunts uh for 24 seconds.
Which
Patrol
is
vision
the
range 8
longest.
meters. Wow. That is the longest one, yes. Flag
Yeah.
arming time is 8 seconds, which is pretty long. Does not cause deep wounds. The breaker damage action is 2 seconds. Patrol duration is 12 seconds. Interesting. So they're not out for super long, but if you get caught, the hunt is long for the Carnifex.
Yeah, so it seems as though the 3 have their own sort of like they can do everything, but it seems as though they have specific tasks. So it seems like the Carnifex is meant for braking because it has the lowest break speed or the fastest break speed. So that'd be the one that you'd send out to like kick gens, break pallets, stuff like that. The assassin seems like it'd be used more for actual hunting, as it does cause deep wounds when it hits a survivor. It has the fastest hunt speed, um, and its hunt duration is the same as the jailer. But I think adding the extra hunt speed as well as the deep wounds is really going to affect that. And then the jailer seems to be sort of like a mid range. He seems more like a patrolling thing, um, because it has the biggest patrol vision range. So it'll be sort of like a mid ground between the assassin and the Carnifex for sure.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay.
He-
Hello, sweetie. Thank you for telling me. Where were we? That was the
we
assassin, right? The
um
assassin is most like the Legion, I think.
I think so, yeah. Because I'm not sure what the Legion's, I'm gonna call it hunt speed, but I don't know what his like power speed is, but I'm gonna assume it's a little faster than that. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Also the fact that he can put you into deep wounds. And then he's got the same spawn vision range and patrol vision range as the Carnifex, but with a smaller hunt duration and a very quick flag arming time. Um
Hmm.
the next one though, holy cow, he can see you. His patrol, the jailer, apparently is the most observant with that patrol vision range of 14 meters
Yeah, he also has a
rather than
patrol
me.
duration of 24 seconds, which is doubled the other two.
Patrol duration 20. Oh, I did not see that. Oof.
And his patrol
Oof.
speed is also a whole meter over the other two.
Wow. Wait.
Um, because it's
Patrol speed. Oh, yeah, it
4.1, yeah.
is.
So it's gonna
So he's
be
everywhere.
he's the very patrol heavy one. So if you want to patrol an area, where the assassin's gonna be more for like if you're gonna send it towards somebody, and then the Carnifex can be if you want to destroy stuff for sure.
So, and also their vision angle range is 180 degrees. So if their back is to you, they can't see you.
Which is really nice.
That is really, really nice.
They do have a
Um,
spawn timer of 2 seconds, which is nice. It's not instant.
they can pull survivors out of lockers. What?
Awesome.
What? Oh man.
The hunt
Uh,
startup duration is 3 seconds, so again, not instant, which is nice.
that
So you
is
do
nice.
have a bit of
Takes up,
time to do stuff.
yeah, that takes up a good amount of time. The night hunt, a minimum aura visibility distance is 12 meters. I don't know what that means. Below this threshold, the knight will not see an aura of his cards. So within a certain amount of meters or outside of 12 meters. I'm
I
not sure.
believe below this threshold. So he has to be 12 meters or more to not see the auras. If he's within 12 meters, he will see the auras.
Okay,
Other
so it
way
makes it
around.
easier.
If he's within
Other way.
12, he will see them. If he's outside of 12, he will not see them because it's
So
below
he
the threshold.
essentially knows when one of his guards is hunting, can see them chasing a survivor and can react and go to that chase himself, essentially extending that hunt. Like the guard stops hunting, but there you go, the killer is right on you, and you're essentially in a real chase.
Yeah, that's for sure. The cooldown as well for the power ready is 3 seconds. So it refers to the time between the guards despawning and the power becoming available again for respawning.
It's pretty quick, so we can't have more than one guard out at a time. Is that what I'm
Um,
thinking? No, he can't.
between it disappearing, so he can have all 3 out at the same time. I think it's just when they disappear, it takes 3 seconds to be able to put them out again. I think is what
Got
that's
it, got it,
referring
got it.
to.
All right.
In terms of the actual path that he can lay out, so the charge time is literally instant. It's 0.01 seconds. The FOV of the knight increases by 25 degrees when he's drawing. It has a max path length of 32 meters. And the warning threshold is 70% for when he's doing it. Reaching this threshold while drawing the path will sound an alarm to tell you that there's not much path left. Maximum distance between path nodes is 5 meters as well. And going along with the paths, the maximum yawn input is 290 degrees. The yawn is the turning motion of the camera. The initial offset distance is 1.6 meters. This refers to how far the camera is offset from the knight's location when entering summon garden mode. The camera walk speed has a max of 13.8 meters per second, and then there's some acceleration multipliers and such.
Nice. That breaks it down just a little bit more for your numbers person.
Indeed.
Oh, some of these add-ons. There's a lot of add-ons.
Oh yeah, there's a good amount of add-ons.
So his standard haste strength on pickup is 50%. Haste duration on pickup is 3 seconds. And endurance duration on pickup is 3 seconds. Interesting.
Not too bad.
Not sure that that's any different from any other killer, but
I don't think so.
let's move on to his add-ons. Ooh, this first
Oh
one.
yeah.
Tattered Tabard. The tattered tabard increases the patrol duration of guards by 6 seconds. That's a good amount of time. That's a
That's
good
pretty
amount
good
of
for a
time to
brown
keep
add-on.
your guards out, especially for a brown atom.
Um,
The next one is a pillaged mead. Yum. Reduces the breaker damage action during duration of guards by 25%. So it makes them a little bit faster on the breaking. Sounds like.
yeah, which is pretty good when you put into account the Carnifex already has a break duration of 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So that lowers it by a decent chunk, 25%.
So 1.5 seconds, 1.75 seconds.
1.75, yeah. I guess that's kind of
Oof.
impossible because there's 60 seconds. But it's something. It's less than 2 seconds, so it's insanely fast. It's just more
Okay.
than 1 second, less than 2 seconds.
So when we can maps, it's fine.
Yeah.
A map of the realm increases the vision range of the guards on patrol by 6 meters.
Thanks,
So if
Nathan. Have a good
you
night.
pair that out with that which one has the vision? I believe it's the jailer.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. That 14 meters becomes an extra 6, so 20
20.
meters. Wow.
Yeah, that's gonna be little cracked.
Little cracked for sure. Gritty Lump is the last of our brown add-ons, with increases the movement speed of the guards on patrol by 9%. So that one is really gonna benefit the assassin, who is already moving at a patrol speed of 3.4 meters a second.
Yeah.
Yep. Does not increase the hunt speed though, just patrol. So you're juking and dodging to try and make sure they can't see you.
Yeah.
All right.
And then we have the yellow add-ons. So the first one is Treated Blade. So the assassin appears twice in a row while cycling through
Nice.
Guardia Campania.
So they essentially can alter the somewhat alter the cycle of their guards.
Somewhat,
They're
yeah.
wasting a slot to do it, but yes.
Yeah. And then there's Dried Horse Meat. So it increases the hunt duration of guards by 4 seconds, which is going to be, I think, pretty good on the assassin.
Yeah.
After that, we have Cold Steel Menaces, which is the
Manacles.
jailer manacles. My screen's small, which means essentially the same thing as before, but for the jailer. So the jailer will appear twice in the cycling, instead of having one of each.
Yikes.
Yeah. And then there's Call to Arms. So it increases the maximum patrol path by an extra 10 meters, which is decent. And it increases the movement speed of the knight while drawing the path by 25%. That's decent,
That is decent.
for making the patrol paths. That's for sure. And the last yellow add-on, which is Battle Axe Head, which again is the same thing as before, but for the Carnifax, so he'll appear twice while cycling through the wheel.
I wonder how long it takes to get out of the action of drawing the path. Um if that's as quick as the spirit, it's like a spirit combined with any other killer,
Mm-hmm.
and you get two of them. Oh,
Yeah, because
especially
I
because they can
don't.
hear you with Strider. That would be ooh,
Oh yeah, because I don't think they mentioned that. So I'm not sure on that detail.
yikes. Okay, so the next one, onto our green add-ons. Town Watch's Torch. So if the guards fail to damage survivors during a hunt, a total of 3 times, the knight is granted the undetectable status effect for 25 seconds. I could foresee killers intentionally putting their guards in places where they're not going to catch survivors
Mm-hmm.
just to get this effect for 25 seconds. That's a good amount of time for undetectable status.
Yeah, they do have to hunt though, so they have to be seen by a character to start the hunt.
Oh,
So they have to chase a
very true.
character and fail to hit us 3 times.
I
Um,
did not catch that.
so I don't know if they miss, like if you, I don't know, 360 an assassin or something. I'm assuming that counts, but I also don't know if we read or not if they despawn after missing. I don't know if it has to
No,
be
they
3 different
don't.
instances. Okay, so they just have
They
to swing
hunt
and miss three
until they're
times.
done. Yeah. Yes. It's not like a Victor from the Twins where you can kick him and he goes away for 8 seconds.
Mm.
Essentially they're out for that duration, and that is it.
So yeah, so that's not going to be too bad. Um,
Mm.
it's sort of like um decent because like if he's chasing you, or if you're on a gen or something, you hear terror radius, and then you have an assassin hunting someone else. The assassin misses 3 times. Now, the knight who was coming for you is now going to be undetectable for that 25 seconds, which might get you grabbed from a gen or something. Or it might get a free hit on you.
I feel like that's 3 different guards, so maybe this one isn't so good because instead of them failing to damage during a hunt, you have to go through 3,
Mhm.
uh, guard hunt periods rather than just 3 misses within a single hunt.
Yeah.
So, that would be a really long amount of time. If you think about it, how much is that hunt gonna end up being? We've got the Carnifex with a hunt duration of 24 seconds. Assassin is 12, and Jailer is 12. So we're looking at 48 seconds of hunt time that you're going through before any of that add-on can possibly affect you with undetectable status.
Mhm.
And you're gonna have to be very on top of seeing what statuses you have on your screen.
That's for sure.
So maybe not so good, but I could foresee some killers coming out with a way to make this even better.
Yeah.
The next one is Grim Iron Mask. When a guard detects a survivor during a patrol, the survivor will suffer from the blindness status effect for the next 60 seconds. Wait, I skipped one.
You did.
We'll go back to that. We'll go back to that one. That's fine.
Next.
We'll go back. We're gonna like jump.
Um,
Grim Iron Mask.
so Grim Iron Mask is going to be very detrimental to me. Um, because I use Windows. So Windows Opportunity, for anybody who doesn't know, allows you to see windows, like jumpable windows, as well as breakable doors. So that you can essentially, as well as pallets, so you can have an easier time in a chase or have an upper hand in a chase. Becoming blind removes that perk from being able to be used for, say, in this instance, 60 seconds. So I will not have that extra vision. So it's gonna be very detrimental to me if I get seen during one of these guards' patrols because then I can't see for 60 seconds. And when you
You know,
use Windows a lot in your build, it messes with you a lot.
just don't get hit. That's all you have to do. Don't get hit when you're in a hunt. Come on, Survivor, you can do this. That one's actually pretty fair for killers.
Mhm.
And it helps them counter a perk that is annoying somewhat for killers. So, yeah, possibly a balance add-on, possibly a pain in the neck for Hardy.
Oh yeah.
So, we'll find out. The one that I skipped is Ironworker's Tongs. If a guard fails to damage a survivor during a hunt, the survivor will suffer from the Oblivious status effect for the next 20 seconds. So even if you escape a hunt as a survivor, you'll be oblivious. Yikes. This is, oh my gosh, because I depend on that terror radius for a good amount of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Uh, what are your thoughts on that one? Oblivious, even if you don't get hit? I feel like
Um,
that's
I feel like it depends. It's very situational. Like if he's waiting around or if he's also chasing you. Because Oblivious makes it difficult to loop. So I think it sort of depends on how they're gonna play him. Because I can see it being useless if they're not gonna chase the same person who's being chased. Because if they're chasing somebody while they're in a hunt and then that guard just doesn't hit them in that chase, they then become oblivious while being chased by the knight. So if that happens, if that situation happens, it'll be pretty good. If it doesn't, it sort of depends on how close the knight is to you, because it is only 20 seconds, so that's decently quick.
or you could be like me and you get oblivious and you don't realize you're oblivious and you just end up
Mm.
running right to the killer to give him a great big hug,
Oh
you
yeah,
know.
that's happened to me a stupid amount of times.
The next one is the chainmail fragment. Guards inflict the hemorrhage status effect when damaging a survivor. And this one actually goes with the next one, Broken Hilt. Chainmail Fragment and Broken Hilt. One afflicts hemorrhage when damaging the survivor. The other afflicts mangled when damaging the survivor. So you get what, half of oh my gosh, what's that perk?
Well, if you
Uh,
use both at the same time, you can essentially just not use Sloppy Butcher.
yeah, there you go. Sloppy Butcher. You get half of Sloppy Butcher using one, but both. You get an innate Sloppy Butcher if your guard hits someone.
Hmm.
Could you imagine if he had Sloppy Butcher and the guards had Sloppy Butcher?
Oh
Ugh.
yeah, that'd be a pain, honestly.
Ideas for killers.
Say no to healing.
Say no to doing anything because you're
Honestly.
avoiding guards, you're avoiding the killer, you're trying to heal through Sloppy Butcher, and gens go out the window.
Oh yeah. So next we have is purple add-ons. There's 4 of them. So the first being lightweight greaves. So after summoning the jailer, lightweight greaves increases the movement speed of the knight by 10% for the next 6 seconds. I can see that being decently good, because of the fact that you're increased by 10% for 6 seconds just after summoning him. So he doesn't have to do anything. He literally just has to summon the jailer and he gets a speed increase by 10% for 6 seconds. That can be really good, if you're going to enter a chase, because of the fact you can just summon and then you just get essentially haste for 6 seconds. Well,
Oh my
10%
god.
of haste for 6 seconds. So that can be really, really good. But yeah, so that is lightweight greaves.
Helps
A
if I turn my cam back on. It's
little bit.
fine. It's fine. I got it in control.
Next is healing poultries. Poultris.
Healing Poultice.
There you go. English is a hard language. So after summoning the assassin, all survivors further than 36 meters from the assassin's spawn location will scream and reveal their location for 30 seconds, or for 3
Oh,
seconds. I was like, damn, 30? But yeah, 3 seconds. So people who don't run distortion start running distortion. Um,
I mean, he'll still hear the scream
you're not
and can
wrong.
maybe directional hear that. If they have
Yeah.
their headset up a lot, maybe.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, Calm Spirit or Distortion would be the order of the day, I guess, if you're avoiding these items.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. So that can be really good for him, just for vision. Like he can just spawn the assassin to spawn the assassin just to get vision for 3 seconds.
Oh, I hate this next one. I hate this next.
So yes, the next one's flint and steel. Good old Minecraft reference. After summoning the Carnifex, the auras of all survivors within 24 meters of any broken pallets in the map are revealed to the knight for 5 seconds.
That's unbroken. Unbroken pallets.
Unbroken. Okay.
So if you're a pallet camper, stop it.
Yeah. So if you're within 24 meters is massive, by the way. 24 meters of any unbroken pallets in the map, whether that is down or up, you'll be revealed for 5 seconds to the knight.
Oh, I hate this on the game. Oh my god.
So essentially, any future knight mains, if you want to match flint and steel with darkness revealed, as well as I can't think of the name of perks right now. As well as lethal. One, lethal is gonna extend that. Two, if you do it with darkness, now you get vision every time you summon the Carnifex for 5 seconds around unbroken pallets. And if you search a locker, anybody within 8 meters of a locker will also have their auras revealed to you. So if you want a really good sight build, Flint and Steel is gonna be really good on the night.
Yeah, that sucks.
Especially if you were to do like Flint and Steel and you add in Battle Axe. So you have Carnifex twice in your wheel. That'll be
Oh
really good.
no. All right.
So the Flint and Steel, really strong.
But it's still really strong if you need help finding things and people and anything in the world, use Flint and Steel.
Yeah. So the last purple add-on is Battlesmith's Hammer. So if a survivor escapes a guard hunt by any means other than grabbing the standard, they will suffer from a -3% hindered status effect and the exhausted status effect for 15 seconds. So you're exhausted. So one,
You're
you
hindered.
make louder noise. Two, you can't use any of your exhaustion perks if you have any, and you're hindered. So -3 hindered. So you're slower by 3%.
Can you do gens while hindered? I don't think you can.
Yes.
It's like eruption, right?
No. Hindered is the one that just slows you down. You're
Oh,
thinking
okay.
of whatever the other one is. The one with like the chains in the hands so that you
Oh yeah,
can't
yeah, okay.
do whatever, which eruption
Uh
causes.
okay. All right. Well, that one will suck.
Yeah.
Especially if you run exhaustion perks, which anybody in DBD who knows what they're doing at all runs at least one. And if you're crazy, you run two
Hmm. And if
exhaustion perks.
you're me, you run none.
And if you're we're not gonna mention that. Um if you're him, you run none. Most people do run at least one though.
Yeah.
Uh the iridescent ones, oh boy, I can't wait for this. Every fourth guard summon causes survivors within 8 meters of that guard to suffer from the exposed status effect for 8 seconds. This is the nice contract. Uh,
So I can see
uh
that being pretty strong.
yes.
Because of the fact that every fourth one, so no matter what that is, as long as you summon him, if someone's within 8 meters of that guard, they will have the status effect, which means they're exposed to you as well as obviously the guard you summoned. So you can just set up like a massive field in like the middle of a map, and then people can just run to it.
He only gets a certain. It has to be within 8 meters of the guard, right?
Yeah, not the path, but as long as you enter 8 meters of that guard.
Okay. Okay. The next one is company banner. Iridescent company banner. Drawing a patrol path through windows blocks them for all survivors for 15 seconds after summoning a guard. The exit gates are blocked by entity spikes for the hunted survivor. And all windows vaulted by the hunted survivor are blocked for all survivors for the remainder of the hunt.
That
So if you're a window life person, oh my god.
yeah.
If you're hunted, you can't open exit gates. If you want to get escape via a window, you can't. Oh no. So 15 seconds after summoning a guard, uh if you draw a patrol path through a window. And then if they're being hunted, they use it to vault and get away, they block it for all other survivors for the remainder of the hunt.
Yeah.
This could be potentially really good. Really,
So
really good endgame stuff for Knight.
I think I'm gonna be honest. I think that's gonna be used a lot. One because the whole path thing, so like it like blocks that window specifically. But it's also like the exit gates will be blocked for the hunted survivor, so you cannot escape if you're being hunted. And any windows that you vault when you're the hunted survivors will be blocked for every survivor until the hunt is done. So if you
Yikes.
run this with like something that extends hunt times or something, which I don't remember if we read anything that extends hunt times. Or yeah, right here. If you do dried horse meat, which extends the hunt duration by 4 seconds, that can be detrimental to a survivor being hunted as well as everyone else that wants to use windows.
Not to mention, like, you have 3 guards that you can throw out and yourself. So, if you happen to get into a rare situation where each one of your guards is hunting at least one of those uh survivors and you're hunting the fourth, there is a huge possibility there for uh end game down
Hmm.
like 4K.
Yeah, and I see it being strong for the whole window thing because let's say, for example, the knight
Coquito,
is
come
running
here,
bamboozle.
come here.
Then in that case, if they have iridescent company banner, let's
Get
say
here.
someone is being hunted and they run through a window in a jungle gym, Now that window's blocked until the end of the hunt. Let's say you're being hunted by the knight who has bamboozle. There's 2 windows in that jungle gym. So one window's already blocked. If the knight jumps through the other window, both windows are blocked. So it can be very strong depending on situation for sure.
Yep, for sure, for sure. And those are the only 2 iridescents we've got to deal with.
Yeah.
2 per hunter or per killer is enough iridescents to go around. These 2 both could potentially be really good together, but at the same time, one of them is very situational.
Mhm.
All right. Well, there's the knight and his perks and his add-ons. Um, he'll get the normal prestige bloody cosmetics once he reaches prestige level 6, 5, and 4. And yeah, I'm excited to see the new cosmetics that they'll come out with for him.
Oh
I
yeah.
really hope, really hope that they get rid of that hair. Of at least one of the cosmetics, because
Oh
I'll run
yeah.
away just for that.
Agreed.
Terrible hairdo.
Um so yeah, so that is the knight or Taros. Taros. Uh
Oh, here you go. Wait.
Kovacs.
The
So
patrol path, when the knight is drawing the patrol path, survivors can see the current position of the knight's free floating camera, represented as a green orb moving about the trial grounds. Wherever the green orb stops will be where the summoned guard will spawn.
okay.
The green orb will emit the same stinger sound effect killers have when starting to move after having stood still for a while. Uh, if the knight has been standing still long enough to be considered stationary before he enters the guard summon mode. Nice.
That's not too bad. So at least we can see it.
Mm. Oh, and if you're a lore person, the names of the guards are, they're also known as the Faithful Three. Alejandro Santiago, who apprenticed with the Guardia Campana's armorer. Durkos Melisek, who showed an aptitude for stealth and silent kills, the assassin. And Sander Ralt, who matched Tarhos in size and strength and wielded a massive battle axe, which is, I'm assuming, the jailer.
Hmm. And for the knight himself, Taros is his Hungarian given name. Kovacs, or anglicized as Kovac, is the Hungarian word for forger or smith, and is the Hungarian equivalent to the common English last name Smith. And Carnifex is the Latin word for butcher, but also used in ancient Rome to refer to as the executioner.
Ooh, lots of lore with him. It's a good,
A good
it's a
read if
good,
anybody would like
good
to
read.
read
Yeah,
it.
if we ever feel like reading a passage in this podcast and or talk about lore, we could possibly do him.
For sure.
Our next survivor, also coming out with the night, is Vittorio Toscano. Vittorio, yep, Vittorio Toscano. He's his role, I guess, is the Endless Wanderer. As his name describes, his nationality is Italian, and he's got some interesting lore. If you have a chance to take a look at Forged in Fog, the lore for him is also lengthy and very in depth. His personal perks are potential energy, fogwise, and quick gambit. So essentially, those allow him to store generator progress to use later, reveal the killer's location after a great skill check, and give others a speed boost while repairing.
Interesting. I'm excited.
The speed boost while repairing would be really nice.
Oh yeah.
All right. You want to talk about his first perk, potential energy?
Oh yeah. So the first one we have here is potential energy. So after repairing generators for a total of 12, 10, or 8 seconds, depending on uninterrupted seconds, depending on the type of perk you have, press the active ability button to activate potential energy. Continuing to repair the generator will charge potential energy instead of repairing the generator. So you do no progress with the gen, you just fill up your perk. Converting 1.5% of the repair progression into 1 token for a max of 20 tokens. Missing a singular skill check results in losing some tokens. Does not say, as of yet anyways, how many tokens that is. While potential energy has at least 1 token, press the active ability button while repairing a generator to instantly progress that gen by 1% per token. So you can do a max of 20% on a generator, consuming all remaining tokens and deactivating potential energy. Potential energy loses all tokens and deactivates upon losing a health state. So if you
Yikes.
have 20 and you're running across the map to go do another gen and you get hit in the progress, you lose all 20 at once.
Oof. Yeah. Uh, Stealth monkeys who repair generators. This is your perk. Um, Also, like if you're repairing with another survivor, that does that progress or does it stop the gen
So
altogether?
what I'm gonna assume, and I think if you're good at stealth and not getting hit or seen, this perk, as long as like I'm thinking of it correctly, and I think I am, potential energy and what's the other perk called? The Dwight perk. Um I can't think of it. The 15% faster repair speed when more than one
Prove thyself?
person. Prove thyself. So if you have prove thyself and potential energy together, as long as they didn't program in a different way, you
Oh my
should be
gosh.
giving everyone else on that gen 15% faster repair speed. So they will repair the gen essentially if there's 2 people on the gen, because I think it's 15% if there's 2 people without that. And you'll be storing this if you're using this perk. So the gen will get progress by that person, but it won't get progress by you. As long as I'm understanding it correctly, and as long as you can use prove thyself. Or I'm assuming if there's 2 people on a gen, the progress from them will still go, but you won't. I'm assuming so it'll be like they're on the gen alone in that
So
case. I don't
you're
know.
on a gen with somebody else, you have prove thyself and this perk, they're gonna be like, why the fuck is this gen not getting done faster?
Yeah, so it'll definitely have to have some testing to see what happens in terms of speeds of that generator. Because if you actually affect
Uh,
the speed of it being on it,
I wonder if this would pair at all with the new perk from Rebecca.
like the skill check
What's
perk,
just focused, right?
hyper focus, yeah,
Hyper focus. Yeah, I wonder if that would pair at all with hyper focus.
because that makes you repair faster if you hit great skill checks, right?
Yes, it increases your speed exponentially if you hit great skill checks, which also leads us into Fogwise. Fogwise, succeeding a great skill check while repairing a generator reveals the killer's aura to you for 4, 5, and 6 seconds, depending on what level you have.
So that's
3
pretty
that
good.
could potentially be pretty good. You could see if you hit a lot of great skill checks, you could potentially be knowing where the killer is, when to go hide, and also increasing your speed while
Mhm.
storing up, you know, potential energy.
Yeah, so that I can see being really good. I'm assuming because he's a gen focus is why it's purely generators. And I also think it might be a little strong if it was just great skill checks in general, because I would love to see it as a survivor be just great skill checks. So if I'm healing somebody, get a great skill check, I can see where he is. But I get with this character why it's purely gens because he is, for lack of a
He's
better
a
term,
gen
a gen
monkey.
jockey.
Yeah.
Because all of his perks revolve around generators. So I see why that
Yes.
is how it is, but I think it'll be really good.
As with his other ones, Quick Gambit is another gen perk,
So quick gambit,
right?
quick
Jam
gambit,
it.
increases the repair speed of any other survivor by 6, 7, or 8% while you are being chased within 24 meters of the generator. That's currently being repaired. So this could be good. If you're being chased within 24 meters of that gen, because you're giving the survivors on that gen up to 8%.
Although they have to be survivors that are willing to stay on a gen while that
Mhm.
chase is happening super close.
Yeah, because
So
they will be within that killer's terror radius while doing that gen.
not a lot of survivors are willing to do that, are not bold enough to do that.
Yeah, and it is situational. Because I know me personally, unless I'm trying to sandbag somebody or just don't hear the generator, I typically don't loop when I hear a gen going. And yes, I do
Focus
sandbag
on that.
red pretty much every time we play.
I allow it.
Yeah, you
He's
do.
like, all right, I'm in chase with the killer, and I'm like, yeah, all right, you can bring him here if you want. I could probably like pop him with a head on, and
Yeah, that's
sometimes
my
it works,
favorite.
sometimes it doesn't.
Is when that happens, or if red's like on a gen or something and has no idea that I'm coming with a killer. So I show
Like,
up
hey,
in
are
a
you
couple
in
seconds
chase?
later.
Yep. Here it comes. I'm like, well, okay, bye. I'm going.
Yep.
Okay, so
Potential energy will be good if you're in a team.
it
Um,
really, really good.
because
Uh-oh.
let's say for example, 3 of the 4, if you're playing in a 4 stack, so full swift, if one person's looping with the killer, 3 people have this perk, you all get 20 tokens. You're instantly putting 60% on a gen. This could also be good depending, like if you stack it up and there's like a 3 gen, you can add an instant 20% to a gen, but you do need to get that from another gen. So there is a so-so progress with that, so it would sort of depend on the situation. So they're all decent perks. I do like Fogwise, even though it is purely great skill checks for gens. But that is a good perk as well. So overall, his 3 perks are decent. Gambit being the least, I think, because it's very situational. But the other 2 are not bad.
Oh, 1 second. Hold up. I got a visitor.
Quick intermission.
It's his birthday, so he's choosing a piece of candy.
Ooh, a good little piece of candy.
Yep.
Let's see what he chooses, chat.
What did you choose? Hold
Is
it
that a
up.
Starburst?
Did we choose? Oh, we chose a Starburst.
Oh yeah.
Probably
Starburst
only because there's
slaps.
no Skittles left, right? Close the door back again. Close the door back again, please. Thank you. Bye. Bye. Happy birthday.
Just doesn't close the door.
Can you put the vacuum on the outside of the door? There you go. Don't close it all the way. There we go.
Love that.
Perfect. Sorry.
All good.
He's like, hey, I'm hungry, and I'm like, I'm coming up on a break here. I'll make you some dinner when we get to that point.
And then lastly for this character, he will obviously get the normal cosmetics, like the bloody cosmetics at Prestige 4, 5, and 6.
Yes. I'm gonna go there, and I'm gonna say this survivor's a pretty head turning. It's pretty hot.
That
He's got a lot of
was a
tattoos.
huge agreement across the DVD community.
I'm pretty sure everybody in the DVD community is like, I'll play him.
I can only imagine that there is going to be like a good high percentage of people that are going to switch to him as main just because of what he looks like.
Needless to say, if I play with Vittorio and he's just standing there at the beginning of the match, I will go and slap.
Oh yeah. I will never change. I'm still sitting here waiting for my cosmetics for Nancy, so
And it's, although I've heard that the Stranger Things chapter is coming out in the next possible new chapter release.
I am excited. I hope we get a new Stranger Things chapter in general because I would
It is
love
unconfirmed.
to see
Unconfirmed, people.
some people. By time that comes out, I might be P100 on Nancy. We will see.
Nancy P100. No cosmetics.
Nope.
No cosmetics. All right.
So let's
So,
see what is in here. Other than them. So there is the flashlight update.
oh yes,
So
the recipe for
essentially,
speed.
finishing a flashlight blind of a killer who is picking up a survivor will succeed in rescuing that survivor. If it completes duration, if it completes
During the last
during
2.25 seconds.
of the pickup animation.
So
So
essentially, it used to be when he moved his arm under the survivor
mhm.
and started to lift up to his shoulder. I think in the middle of that is when you wanted to click and flashlight.
So does this
And
change make
now
it harder or easier?
it's opening it up by 0.25 seconds. So it's supposed to make it easier because the window is 0.25 seconds larger for new
Uh,
people to flashlight a killer and get a safe.
and then also to know killers are now immune to being blind while grabbing a survivor out of a locker. Um, which in all my time playing, even in watching DBD, I've never seen that. But obviously, it happened a lot for them to change it. But I've never personally seen a killer get blind when grabbing a survivor out of a locker.
You did it like twice. Like if someone's really good at flashlights, they'll be
Mm,
like, "Jump in the locker, I got you," and the killer will go and open the locker. And they can't stop that.
yeah,
So
because I guess it's
essentially, if the locker's on an
also
edge,
it also I guess depends how long they're immune for. Because like if they're immune until they have control again, I guess it depends on timing, obviously. But if you throw like a flashbang, you might be able to get them off. But that would depend on chance
if
at
they're
that
like
point.
walking towards the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's just for the duration of like 1 or 2 seconds after
Mm,
they've taken the survivor out of the locker.
yeah.
Um, which is big. Makes it a lot easier for survivors to flashlight, but also takes away the ability to save people out of lockers. Which for me personally is not great because I get taken out of lockers when, for some reason, the game doesn't accept my button press over theirs, or my head-on perk that I always run has run out and I've used it already. And I forget that. So I get picked up out
Ooh.
of a locker and I'm like, wait, I don't have that anymore. Dang it.
Yeah. So this next one is huge, by the way. It's the new content being added. So there's the new map, the Shattered Square, which is okay. We have an updated basement, which is really good. So wider staircase to address body blocking issues. I
Okay.
love this change as a survivor because the amount of times that a killer just stands there and blocks your path to get up, you can't do anything about it. Even with an 8 BT, you're not doing anything. You're
Right.
just gonna sit there and wait. So at least we can get
And
around them.
we've had this discussion before where the model boxes for the survivors are so big. They're way bigger than the
Hmm.
survivor models themselves. They're like Nancy is fat Nancy, and Yui can't get through small gaps that you run up to and you're like, "Ah, I can get through this." And then nope, no you can't cuz your box is like so far outside of the body of the survivor to make it easier to hit, that body blocking becomes then an issue on things like stairs and doors and all that stuff.
Yeah. They also have updated visuals for pallets and breakable doors. I don't know what those are. I did not notice a change in the PTB. I don't know if you did, but I don't know if it just makes it easier, like if they're brighter or
No, I think
something.
that they changed the texture of it and
Hmm.
added some extra broken bits maybe.
Okay.
um, is what I think I saw, but it was really quick, so nobody actually walked up to a pallet and was like, "Oh, you know."
Yeah, so that'll definitely have to be something that we'd have to see when it comes out, because I have no idea what they are.
And then they fixed a bunch of issues for just general bug fixtures. But let's not overlook the fact that this next one is coming out with custom maps, custom matches with bots, which is I can say a big thing, especially if you're a streamer and you stream DVD and you end up getting disconnected or you disconnect from a match or something. Even if you're not a streamer, if you disconnect from a match but you still want to play, you get a realistic, you know, match out of bots. Yeah, bots aren't the best, but they'll still do their job. So,
Yeah.
essentially lets the game keep rolling.
Yeah, and I'm gonna
So, that's pretty
assume they
big.
didn't put it here, but I'm gonna assume there's bot tuning in custom matches to make the bots harder. Um,
Possible.
I don't know how hard that's gonna be. Like, I don't know if the bots are just purely AI or if they had like professional DVD players come in to be the bots at higher rank. Like if you put them to the max setting, I don't know if they're still just AIs or if they had some pro DBD come ins like Hans, um, who they then track his movement to make it harder in loops and stuff like that. It's good for
Yeah.
training for sure if they can make them harder.
So, one thing from this PTB, they have some known issues that are coming with the night that may or may not be fixed in time for the chapter release. So be aware if you're a survivor or you're a night player, if something like this happens to you, it's something that they're aware of and they're fixing it, or um, they thought they fixed it, or hopefully they do fix it. The first one is sometimes a knight's guards will path around window or pallet vaults instead of going through them during a hunt. Um, so I'm assuming that the knight's guards are supposed to be breaking stuff and going through windows, um, to essentially not be stupid AI and to help the knight more often with pallets and stuff.
Uh,
Uh,
the next one's a big one.
yes, yes, it is. A survivor in a locker that gets hit by a guard will keep the blindness status effect indefinitely. Ouch if this happens to you as a survivor. Hopefully they fix this bug because that would be not great. And yeah, hopefully that one gets fixed by the time they come out with this chapter release. The next one is the Night's Guards do not always correctly follow elevation changes. So if you're a survivor and you end up going upstairs or up a hill, sometimes the guards were not following because they couldn't track it. So, um, the knight does not require line of sight on game objects to perform his order action. Will be fixed on a later version, so that is something that is definitely getting fixed. Because if he can look through walls and point at a gen and say break that, uh, kind of not fair. Uh,
Yeah.
kind of OP. Uh, the knight cannot be stunned by pallets or lockers while he is in guard summon mode. So a known issue. Who knows if it's gonna get fixed?
I
Um,
didn't know that was a thing anyways.
would be interesting to be able to pallet slam him out of that if you're a bold survivor.
Hmm.
Technically, he can't see you. I wonder if you body block, like if he's trying to go through an area and you're standing there, can he go through you or does it go around you?
I'm not
Or can he
sure.
just stop him in his tracks?
I'd love it to stop him, but I don't know.
Like the spirit, you're like, why can't I move? Oh, a survivor.
Yeah.
Survivors making a loud noise instead of the detection radius of inside the detection radius of a guard does not get detected. So if you're not being sneaky enough and they're not looking at you, they couldn't have issues with the guards not detecting it, and that I'm sure is going to be fixed because killers would not stand for that to happen.
Yeah.
Visual effects on Survivor when picking up a guard's flag is missing should last for the duration of the bonus effect. So, assuming you get a visual on your screen if you do that, and it
Mhm.
wasn't happening. The active flag visual effect becomes visible if a survivor is hit by a guard before the flag becomes active. The flags for the Knight's guards dissolve inconsistently when a guard despawns. The visual effects for the Blight's Mori are missing. I did not know that.
Did not know that either.
The loud noise notification from the No Way Out perk is misaligned with the exit gate switch panel. Although I would imagine that if it was misaligned, it would just be by a little bit, not like a lot. So even if they got the noise notification, it would be like on the same wall or in the same direction ish.
Mhm.
So not a terrible issue, but still probably an issue that's annoying for people that like to run that. Um, Visual effects for the potential energy perk can be misaligned depending on the orientation of survivor when triggered. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see that. We have yet to play as survivors with Vittorio and his perks. So we'll see.
Good.
Um Survivors who are hunted by the Night Guards will sometimes notice the flag will not despawn even if the guard disappears. I'm assuming that's a typo, but the flag doesn't despawn when the guard disappears, which would suck. I wonder if that would keep the killer from putting out another guard.
Mhm.
Vittorio and the Knight Tier 1 perks are a common rarity,
That's
apparently.
whatever, I guess.
Yep. Survivor tutorial cannot be completed. That's unfortunate for
Rough.
new people.
Guess you're not playing our game.
But the blood points you get when you do that. No.
Honestly.
Activating a guard order on a generator can sometimes injure a survivor repairing the generator. What? You're like just doing the gen and all of a sudden he's like, go kick that. Oh, I'm injured. What? Survivors should only be forced off of it. I wonder if that's until the guard gets there.
I don't,
Maybe?
yeah, I'm assuming so. Or is it like when the guard comes to kick it, it's injuring them instead of kicking them off?
Maybe.
So it's supposed to activate like dead man's, well, not the arms, but like activate where it kicks you off of it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially. Hopefully they get that right. Because if he's pointing at it, it says do that, and you get kicked off, and you're not able to do the gen while the guard is going to go kick it and has yet to kick it, would be
Mm-hmm.
annoying. Um, so yeah, that covers the PTB. What is your least favorite part of what is coming out about the Knight or Vittorio?
Um, Least favorite part, um, about the knight is probably gonna be his hubris perk. Either that or some of his add-ons. Because hubris is gonna be just really good on a lot of killers. Like if you, I can just picture situations with nurse where you get stunned by a pallet. That survivor is now exposed for 20 seconds. All you have to do is teleport over that pallet, and that survivor dies. So it'll be very good on nurse, and other killers like that. So that perk in general is really strong. And then some of his add-ons will be really strong when added on with other add-ons and perks and whatnot. So that'll be terrifying.
Yes.
In terms of Vittorio, he's pretty decent. I think the only thing is like I guess like quick gambit is just very situational. So I think it's gonna be the least used out of both all three perks. But I guess it depends on the person who's using them.
Hmm.
Um, Everything else seems pretty fine, to be honest. He doesn't seem like stupid OP like some of the killers they added.
He
Um,
seems complicated to first get used to.
mhm,
And then once you kind of know what you're doing and know what you're looking for, then I can foresee people who choose to play him on the regular or main him would
Yeah.
probably make him a lot better, just like any other killer.
Yeah.
Essentially, people would get really good at playing certain characters, and then they are great. They get a 4K every single time, but when they move to another killer, maybe it's not that situation.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Like
What's
I
your favorite
think
part?
my favorite part is probably um hmm, in terms of the general update of 6.4.0, it's the basement update. 100% because I'm
The stairs.
tired of getting body blocked on the stairs. So that's probably my favorite part about the entire thing.
You're just
A
tired of being fat shamed.
Literally, Fancy's thick. Fancy.
Fancy. She's
Nancy's
fancy
thick, but
Nancy.
she ain't fat. Um, the bots and custom matches are going to be really good as well. Just for people who want to get better at the game, you can just add some difficult bots and see if you can defeat them.
Yeah.
Instead of ruining your MMR out of game, I guess.
That's I
Um,
mean, the only thing I can foresee was that is that a lot of killers use mind games
mm,
as a tactic. So bots, I don't see how bots can really do the same thing and choose to do one move over another based on, how the survivor is acting and the pathing of
yeah,
the survivor.
it would really
But
depend on how they code it because
yeah,
I see it being
that's
good, but it's also depending on how you play as a killer, I don't see it being good at all. One thing that we don't see in the PTB, which correct me if I'm wrong, is innate unbreakable not coming with this PTB? Like, is that not going
oh,
live? Because that wasn't in the patch notes. So is
that
that
was
not
supposed to
going
be talked
live?
about. That
Unless they're
was not in the
waiting
patch
for the
notes.
next chapter or something? They're gonna try and
Ouch.
fine tune it because that's not in here at all.
Yeah, innate unbreakable was supposed to be something that they were talking about to counter slugging, which is a super boring uh part of DBD, and a lot of people really hate it. Survivors absolutely hate it, and killers use it as a tactic sometimes, but also can be abused for certain killers that like to do that. It gets really boring play. And you have no counter to it. There's nothing you can do except for try and wiggle out or just wait until you die.
Yeah, like that is a huge thing, especially right now, is there is a lot of slugging. Like me and Red, we played, I don't even know, like a few games the other day, and every single game they slugged. It's just a boring way to play. There's no reason to play like that. Like if the last person gets hatched, they get hatched. Like there's just no reason at all to slug, especially
Yep.
when it's multiple sluggings, like in terms of there's three people alive and they slug to kill all of them. There's just no reason because you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. And unfortunately, until DBD chooses to come out with a counter to that, to kind of indicate, hey, slugging like this is not okay. You can slug
Hmm.
for a little bit, but essentially, don't make the game boring. Because
Yeah,
it's a game, we're all here to have fun, and when people abuse that, you know, that's where our issues on killer versus survivor come into play. When people feel like the game isn't fair one way or another. Um,
yeah,
so and until they say it's something that needs to be countered, it ends up being a viable tactic for killers to use. Um, and there's not really much you can do about it unless you run unless you run Unbreakable.
yeah. Because there's obviously huge debates in the community about slugging and camping, um, which both need to be addressed from the standpoint of someone who is a survivor main to someone who is a killer main. Nobody on either side can say that slugging and camping is a need in the game. Because even though you're losing pressure, there's no reason you need to do it. So they need to add a way to counter that. I know there's
You
Unbreakable in the game. I know that they just added the new perk with Rebecca. It doesn't change anything. There needs to
yeah.
be ways that they change the mechanics of the game.
And it was supposed to come out with a Mori system too, like a finishing Mori that was innate,
Hmm.
which ended up being super, super OP because they just downed 4 people and it automatically finished the game regardless of
Yeah,
whether or not they got people on hooks.
like the
Um,
15-second nurse game from the
which
PTB.
yeah, which I'm assuming they're trying to fix. But you know what this sounds like? This sounds like something for our next podcast session.
Indeed.
Uh talking about the camping, tunneling, certain issues within DBD that make it feel unbalanced for one side or the other.
Agreed.
Would be something we could address. The other things that we could address are common miscommunications within the game of DBD for people who are not in a Survive with Friend Discord or anything like that. Common miscommunications between killer survivor. We can also talk about the unwritten rules and the the survivor handbook or the survivor guidebook or killer guidebook, all those things that are not a part of the game, but people feel are a part of the game or should be a part of the game.
Yep. The things you should
So,
and should not do.
right, in this game. So if you guys have something that you feel you want us to talk about, and feel free to let us know if you want to hear about a topic, or if you want to hear about our worst experiences, or if you want to hear about the camping and tunneling debate. Put those comments in the links below, or in the comments below. Put those feelings. Um, Let us know. We're on every Saturday night, talking on this podcast. You can come and you can participate in the discussion. For we request that you remain level-headed if you choose to do so, and we can address certain issues that people might be having in this game that
For sure.
can either be fun or unfun
Oh
based on
yeah.
how you play and what your attitude is going into it.
And if you want to see any of these patch notes for yourself, whether it's the 6.4 or it's Vittorio or the Knight, the links to all 3
Carlos.
pages will be in the description if you want to check that out yourself, as well as links to Reds, as well as my Twitch channel if you want to watch podcasts live. They will be posted every Saturday. I don't know if they'll be up on Saturdays, but they will be up after that, for your enjoyment to watch us discuss about hot topics, as well as general things about DVD, whether that's patch notes or like survivor handbooks and stuff like that.
All right. This has been our first episode and podcast of No One Escapes Death. Thank you for joining us and thank you for listening. If you like what you hear, go ahead and click that like button and get that little bell ringing for every time we post something. This is a DVD podcast that hopefully we continue for a good amount of time. We talked about the PTB today, and that will be released on November 22nd, 2022. So get the deets here before that gets released and before you get to play it.
Peace.